a former poet laureate for Edmonton, Alberta, who spent formative musical years in Montreal. Rollie Pemberton, whose stage name is Cadence Weapon, now calls Toronto home. He's a rapper, producer, writer, and this week he won the hugely prestigious Polaris Music Prize for his 5th album, Parallel World. It's a groundbreaking record, and Cadence Weapon kicks off his U.S. tour supporting it tonight in Denver, Colorado. And that's where we find him. Hi, Cadence. Really, really nice to meet you.
Hey, wonderful to meet you.
Yeah, huge week for you. You won the Polaris, you performed at the Garrison, now you're in the States. But before we get our chat, I just wanted to show a clip of Afriville's Revenge off your album, Parallel World. Sheldon, please roll.
Wish my people were treated with reverence. Instead, they're treated as irrelevant. Disrespected because of resemblance. Courts want to see us be recidivists. All of this, it gets ridiculous. We've been failed by representatives. Get so tired of the rhetoric. Get moved out for other residents. No more living with the reticence. Say what I feel without regretting it. Smart, black, handsome, plus I'm eloquent. All they notice is the melanin.
Smart, black, and eloquent, and handsome. Nice to meet you. That record has been on, I've been playing that a lot. The album itself, it's incredible. But for anyone thinking that you're an overnight success, this is not your first nomination for the Polaris Prize. What has the road been like for you to finally get this recognition?
Oh, it's very meaningful to me. I mean, I feel like I'm somewhat synonymous with the Polaris Prize because I was nominated for the very first one in 2006. And you know, I've gone through a lot in my music career, and just to have this level of recognition, like it's, you know, I feel like I'm walking on a cloud. It hasn't totally sunk in, but it feels amazing.
Well, you called yourself the Susan Nucci of rap. Always
Yes.
a bridesmaid, never a bride until this moment.
Yes.
You know, in your acceptance speech, you said that you had never won anything, and not many people can say that they've had one album nominated. You've had several on the long list, several on the short list, and now that you're a winner. Do you, at any point throughout this, did you ever feel that you'd already made your best music and that you might not be able to make the list again?
No, not at all. I always feel like my best music is ahead of me. Like, I still feel that way now. Like, I think the weird thing is maybe the perception, like, it's like, okay, like, he's been nominated for Polaris all these times. He's made all these records. Like, maybe like, there's been times where I've had long gaps between albums. Like, I didn't put an album out for 6 years between my 3rd and 4th album. But I always knew in my own mind that I could always make better music. And I feel like, weirdly, the pandemic allowed me to have like this level of sustained focus that I haven't had since I was like a teenager, where it reminds me of like being back in my mom's attic making beats like when I first started. So I feel like I brought that same energy and it had great results.
Because I think for some people, the pandemic, we all experienced it at the same time, but for some people, it affected them in different ways. Why do you think it affected you in a way where you, I guess, found yourself to be more creative?
Yeah, well, I mean, for instance, right now I'm in Denver, and like I'm on tour. So there's usually all these other distractions that prevent me from having the space and time to really create new music. But with the pandemic, that was completely over. When it first happened, like a lot of people, like I had all these plans. I was supposed to do South by Southwest. I was supposed to play a bunch of festivals and stuff. And, that was over. And then I just kind of had to like resign myself to being like, let me just stew in this forced isolation situation, right? And for me, it really did result in a very productive period for me, because not only did I write and record and produce this album, but I also have been writing a book at the same time.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about the book if we get time, because we've got lots of things to talk to you about. But the clip that I played at the very beginning, Afriville's Revenge, you paid homage to a Black community in Halifax. The community was around for 150 years, but in the 60s, the city of Halifax demolished that community, that Black community. This is something that I never learned about in school. Was this intentional on your part to share a history? Because I think when we think about who belongs in Canada, we think certain groups belong and others don't. So was this intentional on your part to share that history?
Yeah, that was very important to me. I started thinking more about Black Canadian history specifically because I wrote an article for this publication, Hazlitt, about Little Jamaica in Toronto, which is kind of undergoing LRT-based, transit-based gentrification. And I started doing more research and thinking of other communities that have been disenfranchised in a similar way. And I was like, oh, damn, like Africville. I never learned about that in school. I never learned any Black history in school growing up in Edmonton or anything, like, and that really made me feel like, I'm very othered. I felt like, okay, maybe I'm not really a part of like the Canadian tapestry or whatever, but I think it was really important for me not only to highlight this Black Canadian history, but I feel like the album itself is a document of Black Canadian history. It's like my experience. It's maybe, not what you would associate like musically, electronic music, experimental music, like UK grime inspired music. It's not what you expect from Canadian rap, but now I feel like I've put the flag down for, Black people in Canada who think differently and make different kinds of art.
And music is music. And I just want to pick up on a word that you just used. You felt othered. Because on another track, Eye to Eye, you rap, thank God I made it home today. If I walked another block, I might have been blown away. I don't think I'd be surprised. These things happen every day. Some people watching or even listening to this, they might be surprised this is something that you consider daily. What does that do to you in how you see the world and how the world sees you?
Well, that song is really inspired by the concept of double consciousness. And it was specifically inspired by the Chris Cooper, Amy Cooper incident in Central Park that happened, where, the Black bird watcher and this woman who was Canadian, she tried to weaponize the police against him. And that's something that I think a lot of Black people can relate to. This idea of like, you could be just walking down the street and anything can happen, and it's like, whether it's like police brutality or just everyday kind of microaggressions. Like, I just really wanted to talk about that because I've never really heard anyone discuss it in a song in that way. And it's something like, even like I live in Toronto and I used to live in Rossesville, and I really was inspired by the idea of like, there's all these like, nice white rich people in the neighborhood, and I'm walking on the same sidewalk as them, and I'm thinking like, okay, I don't want to walk too closely behind them. I don't want to seem threatening. And, it's this weird like mental calculus that Black people have to make, that I don't think is really well known. This idea of like thinking of how I'm perceived as well as like perceiving myself the way I typically do. It's like this weird dichotomy that I often have to deal with.
And you mentioned Roncesvalles. It's a community in Toronto. I used to live near there. And it's interesting because I think the pandemic has allowed other people to maybe consider other people's experiences. Because before, I don't know, did you think that you had that freedom to talk about these things before the pandemic?
It's different. I mean, I've in my last few albums, I've really tried to be very empathetic. And I've tried to like put myself in different perspectives and rap from different perspectives. But particularly, the pandemic, I definitely was really honed in on that, and I made it more of a point of emphasis to really talk about these subjects, especially just I was really inspired by the George Floyd protests and just seeing this, uprising of collective action. It really spurred me on. And I was just like, okay, we're talking about this stuff on the news now. People are talking about, microaggressions and institutional racism, on a large scale. And these are things that, I used to like question myself and be like, is this really happening? Is it real? And it's like, I knew it. That's how I felt. I was like, I knew it. And now it's, a regular subject. And so that made me feel like I got to go in. I got to do this. I got to like no holds barred, just be totally honest and forthright about how I feel about these issues.
And earlier this summer, too, you shared an essay where you shared your experiences. When we talk about being honest, you talked about being signed to a 360 deal. And you wrote in your essay that during the first 10 years of your career, you basically didn't make a dime. You traveled the world and you played hundreds of shows and you were penniless the whole time. How did you get yourself up every morning and to continue to make music, even though you were in a situation where you were basically not making any money from all the work that you were doing?
Well, it was a situation where it was kind of like the there was a carrot on the other side where it's like, oh, if I keep going, eventually it's going to break through, and I'm going to like, it's going to balance out, and I'm going to make some money. But for me, I just love music. Obviously it's something like I would do it for free, and clearly I did it for free for many, many years. And I just always believed in myself, and I knew eventually like I'd extricate myself from the situation. I would move on and do the kind of things I'm doing now. But yeah, it was really hard. There were definitely some moments where I felt like I didn't want to make music anymore. Like I realized when I wrote that essay, like so many people reached out to me, so many artists, so many people with similar stories, so many people really relating and resonating with what I was talking about. It was just kind of like, wow, this is like way wider than I had ever imagined.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a great thing that you did, because we end up this week with you winning the Polaris Prize. And I just wanted to share a little excerpt from your speech after you won the award. You said, "If I won this, I wanted to announce that next year I'll be using some of my resources to organize some voter registration events around the Toronto municipal election, as well as the Ontario provincial election, because we need some changes to our leadership, and we need to make things more equitable for people in the city to be able to vote. I also just want to take this time to mention that Justin Trudeau has worn blackface so many times, he can't even remember how many times, and he was just given a third term. That's exactly why I need to be making rap records that are political, that are about these subjects, because that's still a fact today." What does it say about Canada's political landscape that a party with a leader who wore black and brown face on multiple occasions has been reelected for a third term?
Well, it's this idea of, the what I call the Canadian myth. This idea, where we're nice, polite people, but it's really only to your face. But when your back is turned, that's when the knives come out sometimes. And I feel like, we're not as progressive as we think we are as a nation sometimes. I feel like, despite having other alternatives, sometimes it doesn't feel like there's a real alternative. So. Yeah, it's disappointing, especially, we all saw his Vacation yesterday. I just, as an artist, I'm inspired by people like Public Enemy, The Clash, like Gil Scott-Heron, people who spoke truth to power, and I feel that's the role of the artist. I feel like that is truly my calling, is to really, put these leaders, on alert, because it's like, we need to hold them accountable,
Well, you referenced the upcoming municipal and provincial elections in your speech as well, and you mentioned making voting more equitable. In what ways is it not equitable, and how are you going to combat that?
Well, I live up on Eglinton, near Little Jamaica, and I see it's a very diverse neighborhood. And the feeling I get, especially with the last election, it felt like there was a lot of elements of voter suppression. I suspect.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
No. Oh, well, the fact that they were, taking, polling places out of universities, there were less places to vote, super long lines and stuff. Like, it's like, I find that stuff is actually all by design, because if you keep, voting numbers low, you can kind of predict the results a bit better, in my opinion, So my idea is like, let me get people more engaged and more excited about voting who don't really think about it, or the very many people who don't vote, and they don't see that this is actually like a something that's just changed so many lives all around the world. The fact that you're able to, like, your voice can be heard, and if you vote, you can complain about the results later, like I'm just like a really big voting advocate, and I think I'm really excited about that part of, putting together these voter registration events. There's going to be bands and stuff. There, like people with iPads registering people. Like, I just think it's really exciting, especially in like a neighborhood like mine, or like Parkdale, places that are just very diverse. That, the more engagement that we can have, the more we can have, leadership that reflects the people in the communities.
I suspect, well, the Prime Minister said that one of the reasons why there were few polling stations was because of the pandemic. But we do find ourselves in a situation where we live in a world that seems to parcel issues either left or right. What role do you think that plays in maybe the voting apathy that we're seeing?
Oh, well, I mean, a part of it is just, it was an election that nobody wanted, and it just felt like this chore, especially during like a global pandemic. It felt like a bit of like a power grab or something. Like, I don't know. I was just really disappointed that happened in the first place. But um, yeah, like on a left versus right side, I mean, I feel like they both sides really would prefer less people to vote. And I feel like that's good enough reason for all of us to vote, as many people to vote as possible, especially young people who are constantly disenfranchised from voting because they can't predict what young people are going to do. And usually young people vote more progressively, I think also, I'm just tired of like the broken promises, the idea, when are we going to have get rid of first past the post, these broken promises. Like we need to move on. We need to have like true democracy in Canada.
I know you make music and you're an artist, but would you ever consider running for a political office?
Yeah, I thought about it. Actually, during, leading up to the federal election, I was actually asked to potentially put my hat in the ring to
Which party?
run for the federal election. Oh, I shouldn't say.
You can say, it's just two friends talking.
Well,
you don't have to.
Yeah, well,
but it's something that you've considered?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's something maybe further down the line. My idea was like, I got this album. I'm quite busy with it. I'm writing a book. Like, it wasn't the right time, But, I think somewhere down the line, I think people could probably predict where I would go.
Well, you come from a family that's super accomplished. Your grandfather was a CFL Hall of Famer. Your uncle was a musician. Your dad, a groundbreaking DJ in Edmonton. And in 2009, as I mentioned, you were sworn in as the City of Edmonton's Poet Laureate for a 2-year term. When you were in that position, to what extent could your work be political, subversive, given you were part of that system?
Oh, it was fine. I was still able to, speak to the things that I wanted to. My thing was like, I was trying to do things that were really, Edmonton focused and about our culture and really like lift that up. And I never felt like, oh, I can't say anything or I can't do this event or whatever. Like, I never felt any barriers. But I feel like, the problem with, getting involved in like party politics is, you have to toe the party line. And frankly, I've never been very good at that.
Well, maybe that's what fight the power means, right?
Absolutely. I think, some of the great leaders in the history of the world didn't toe the line. So I don't know, maybe it is a good idea.
Well, you're in the States, you're in Denver, Colorado, and you're going to be heading out on a U.S. tour. So many Canadian artists end up leaving Canada to seek recognition that they might not be getting in Canada. Do you ever feel the need to head south?
I've thought about it, of course. I mean, it's something that it's become quite common, that kind of like Toronto to LA pipeline. I've got so many friends, but I don't know. I think I've been in Toronto now for 6 years. I feel like the more time I'm there, the better things seem to be for me, and I feel like I'm really developing a great community there. And I don't really have any plans to move anywhere else. My thing is like, I really feel like a real, responsibility as a Canadian artist to really like, show people that you don't have to move to LA or New York and you can really make a difference with what you're doing within Canada. And I feel like particularly this record is, it's definitely telling me like, Canada is a fine place to be.
You made this record, as we've mentioned, during the pandemic. How did that impact your creative process and what you wanted to say on this album?
Oh, heavily. I was heavily influenced by the pandemic. This record, it couldn't have existed in any other circumstance. And it's so strange making an album like this. I had to do almost everything remotely. I was dodging the different lockdowns and stuff to be able to get into my studio. And then it would be like just like a mad dash to like record as much as I could. It definitely, the recording process had like a real urgency and it had really frantic energy to it. And I feel like that is reflected in like what I'm talking about, and it's very of the moment. I think that really resonated with people, especially, we're in this era where, where you and I were speaking virtually, like we're so much of our lives are more connected electronically than ever. And I wanted to really make a record that spoke to those themes.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that track, I guess you're referencing, is On Me. You're talking about the fact that, we're kind of being surveilled on our phones, CCTV. When, as a musician, can that work to your advantage in the way that, having had the issues that you had with the 360 deal, being able to connect directly to your fans?
That's one of the most important things to me. I'm always looking for new ways to have a bufferless connection with my audience, because I feel like with the different social media companies, they rely on disconnecting me from my audience. I bring people to their platform, but then I can't reach them all with, my posts. I can't, on the streaming companies, thousands of people listen to my music every month, but I can't message a single one of them, And so I've looked for different platforms. I have a Substack newsletter that has been a really great experience where, it's over 1,000 people right now where they're able to connect directly with me, and I've been getting more into doing things like Twitch, where it's this online streaming, and I'm DJing, I'm just playing tracks I found. But I feel like my really close fans, I'm engaging with them in a way that wasn't possible in the past. I'm trying to bring it back to the old internet way of being, where it was kind of like the Wild West, and there weren't, the ad companies didn't have as much control over things, and you could just kind of create and have communities without being, commodified.
Well, we keep hearing about wanting to move to the new normal, and your album has kind of been described as dystopian. I don't know if you like that description or not, but I think even with some of the music that the tracks might make some people uncomfortable. What do you think we should all consider when we're in this moment as we consider and how we move forward, hopefully past the pandemic?
Well, I would say don't rush to normalize or whatever. There's no normal. That's over. We're in a new era, and I feel like I just spoke directly to what's happening in the world, and it's a reflection of what my reality is. And yeah, it can be uncomfortable. Yeah, maybe it feels dystopian to some people, but I don't know if you looked outside lately, but we're in a crazy time. The pandemic has completely upended everything that we once knew. I'm out here playing shows in America and feeling quite anxious about it. It's weird times, and so I'm happy to soundtrack them.
Are you feeling anxious because of the pandemic, or just the mood, or?
Oh, I mean, it's very highly charged energy, especially in America. It's just, masks and things are just way more politicized. It's kind of gnarly, and it's just there's no capacity limits at the shows and stuff. It's just game on. It is normal here, but in the wrong way.
Well, Cadence, thank you so much for spending some time with us, and huge congratulations. Hopefully we'll have you back on TVO at some point during the elections. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is made possible through generous philanthropic contributions from viewers like you. Thank you for supporting TVO's journalism.